Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Replenish Me Show, where we offer strategies for women to get from the chaos of wanting to be healthy to the calm of actually doing it through building a system of self-nurturing. Today, I introduce the lovely Shari Khan, and she has come up with an amazing system called Transform. And I can't wait to hear her story and the strategies she has to share with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Cordelia. It's my pleasure.
So tell me, this is a very interesting name that you've come up with for your company. And it makes me immediately think that you're like retraining your mind or retraining yourself to be a different being or a different way. Am I in the neighborhood?
Yeah, what a perfect description. Do you know, actually, I can't take credit. I would love to take credit for the name Transform, but I can't. It was actually the name that came up. There was someone who helped me create my website when I was just setting up for myself, and we were looking. You know, the whole thing of branding and knowing what. Somehow the name of the company name, it really needs to resonate with you. And I was explaining, Mark, his name was, I was explaining to him what I did and what I wanted. And I kept talking about transformation and helping people, but my background was training. So he had this light bulb moment. And I think we did quite a lot of brainstorming. We went away, we couldn't find anything. And he came back and he said, this is it, it's Transform. And that was it. That was it. But it is about the transformational journey that people go on. And I still, this is kind of 7 years on now, and I love the name because it still resonates no matter what I'm doing within the business, because I train for organizations and companies as well as individuals. So it just still makes sense. Yeah. So thank you for picking up on that.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. I like that. Okay, so what is your background and what, tell me a little bit about your story. What do you do now?
Background, I mean, in terms of qualifications and whatever, training, I started off teaching first. So I studied chemistry for my degree, and then I did a teaching qualification. So I taught in schools and colleges, chemistry and physics. And yep, and that was
wow.
And that feels like a different lifetime. It really does. It feels so long ago. But I think I've always been a teacher at heart. I think that's the thing. But school, it wasn't school for me. I don't particularly like the order and the regimented sort of approach to teaching. So I had to get out and go where it was a little freer to do my work, which was within organizations. So, yeah.
Interesting. So, you know what's funny about what you're saying? You were a science teacher, but you want it to be more free. And when people think of scientists, we always think of structure and like methods and stuff like that. But when I think of science, I always think of how it is an art. You know, like it's its own language. And so you're just like confirming that for me. Like you're a true scientist to me. Yeah.
Yes. I think how we teach science in schools leaves a lot to be desired as well. It is, I suppose, the whole of education is, isn't it? The regimented sort of approach, rather than the free-spirited thinking and creating and discovering. Yeah.
Did you have a personal struggle or anything above and beyond, you know, feeling confined to have to conform in that arena? And if you did, when you moved into the organizational realm, did you find what you were looking for, or that still wasn't it?
I think this thing of struggle, I think everyone feels it at some point. I mean, I think I particularly felt it just because of my nature, just because of my spirit. You know, I'm one of 7 kids, and our parents were our parents. My father is gone now, but my mother is still with us. If I talk just a little bit about the background, actually, in terms of kind of upbringing, there's a really, really supportive family unit. and where we had our father who was, really encouraging us to go to university, make sure you learn what you can, make sure you be the best that you can and get out there, and in a man's world you are as equal. So that was the very, very strong message from my father. So girls, even more than boys, actually encouraged to make sure they got their qualifications. And then from my mother, there was this beautiful, nurturing, supportive environment where really I think about our upbringing, and I think just how perfect it was, because we had both spaces, and we felt comfortable and we felt empowered to do our best. But actually, if it didn't work out, that it's going to be okay anyway. So there was never drama in that sense, which is what I think I experience an awful lot when I look at my clients and I'm working with my clients. There's an awful lot of drama because there seems to be almost a panic about life, yeah, which wasn't there, I think, when we were growing up. So in that sense, a very supportive sort of environment to grow up in. But I mean, I think I found school, university, whatever, really quite restrictive. I like to break out. I like to go and do things. I don't know. I suppose it is this thing of discovering. I like the unknown. I used to love, and I haven't done it for a while now, but I used to love just getting in the car, not having anywhere to go, no idea, and you just drive. And you stop, and you stay, and
I love that. Yeah. I used to do that too. I can totally relate to that. So, you know what I'm hearing when you're saying, like, for yourself, with your dynamic upbringing, you kind of were given freedoms, to be yourself, that you don't see that your clients have, they don't have probably in their upbringing. And that's where their angst is coming from. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's the freedom. I think it's the security.
Right, security.
That we had. I think not so much freedoms. In fact, I would say it isn't freedom, because and that is kind of part of maybe some of the stuff I'll share with you is actually I had to leave home at some point because it was too restrictive. There were, things asked of me which I wasn't willing to conform to. I mean, every society has that, every family has that. But I realized that I couldn't stay there and be with them and still be me. It was going to be too much of a struggle. So I had to, make that choice, make that decision. Yes.
So if you don't mind me getting a little bit personal here,
sure.
I'm noticing by your name,
yes.
Shari Khan, that you may be from like a Muslim background, or your parents migrated to Europe. So would you say the way that your family practiced Islam was very difficult for you, for your personality, and that's what you needed to move away from?
Yes, you're absolutely right. From Pakistan originally, from Karachi, and my family moved to the UK, like every immigrant family, to make a better life for themselves, for their children, for the future. So all really honourable intentions, and a very hardworking family, and actually very liberal, I suppose, in some respects, because having a father at that time who was so positively promoting his daughters to make sure they were able to stand on their own 2 feet. That's what it was about. That's, making sure you were resilient in life to be able to manage, to be able to cope. So yes, but I think my personality, and I think it does come down to that, is because the religion was not a problem for many of my siblings. But for me, it was too restrictive. But to be honest, I don't think it would have mattered which religion I came from, because I think just any religion for me is too restrictive. I don't want those uh, boundaries. I don't want to be labeled in that way. So I'm very much a free spirit in that sense. Yeah.
I like that. I appreciate that. So, okay. And so how did you train yourself to become the form that you are, and what strategies did you use?
Cordelia, I think life is probably the biggest teacher for us. So if I just share with you maybe some of the main events that happened, which I think shaped me. So I think for me, the very first that I can significantly say had a really big impact was I had a very, very close friend. We our family and their family were in the same street. We grew up together. Mums were friends, and I think 4 of us, the youngest 4 in our side, I had 2 sisters. 1 sister older than me, and the one younger. Us 3, although 7 of us altogether, had in their family 3 of the same age, so best friends.
Nice.
So we had lots and lots of time together. I was in the same. My friend was Anita. Very, very wonderful childhood memories. And then age 16, suddenly, I hadn't seen her at school for a few days, and we heard that she had died. We heard that she had passed away, age 16. Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly right. And it was one of the, even now when I look back and try and trace, why am I me and what shaped me? That's one thing that keeps coming to my mind, because it taught me a very important lesson, which was basically how precious life is, and that it can go like that. And I think that possibly helped me to really start to think about how I spent my time, first of all, but also what I did and what I didn't do. Because it's so short. Because if Anita, and she was the most beautiful, long flowing hair, and just, and gone like that. So a lesson, and I think life kind of teaches us so many lessons along the way. But that was certainly one which molded me and how I approach life. And I think that just as you go through life and things that happen. So, for example, one of the things for me, I realized that I had to come away from my family. It wasn't going to be possible for me to be with the person I wanted and still be accepted even within the community, the wider community, and the family. So that was a choice I made. And it was at a time when I think everyone around me was saying, yeah, not a good idea, very risky. Yeah. So when you've got everyone saying that, and you are feeling, you've just got to weigh it all up, because there was everything, the whole world on one hand, and then this other relationship and what I wanted. And I could have, and this is, I think this is the thing, is that life is full of choices. I think that's one of the big learnings for me. And it's just a matter of which road you take.
It really is, yeah.
And I went with what my heart was telling me, because to do anything else, I wouldn't be living my full self. Yeah.
So I have a question. So how many sisters and how many brothers were you?
I have 3 and 3.
3 and 3, nice, okay. Yeah. And did you select your spouse, or did they select your spouse?
Oh, I did.
You did, okay.
Oh yeah, I did. And as I say, I had to actually, to be able to be with him, I had to, it was not going to be acceptable for me to be there with my community, with my family, and for that relationship to be accepted.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was a choice to leave, and yeah, it was a very difficult one, but you thank goodness I have no regrets, but that's not to say it was it was easy, not at all.
Right, of course. Yeah, it's definitely a life choice and a different path altogether. So, so what kind of transformations do you help your clients with?
Well, if how do I do so? Who I work with? Maybe if I explain who I work with. So I work with professionals and managers who are, and I think kind of give an idea of age, getting to that kind of 40-year-old mindset, 40 of us. So they're the kind of clients I work with, men and women. But it's people who are finding it difficult to find meaning in the life that they're living at the moment. So it could be that they're just totally overwhelmed with work, with life, not finding purpose, not finding joy. It feels like, it just is like a, what's the word, like Groundhog Day. It's just, is this it? And they're questioning, really, is this it? Is this life? So, and it depends what stage they are at, but it could be that because if people don't take care of themselves early on enough, then they get to the burnout. And then, of course, there's a lot of other work you've got to do to help them get back to a point of being able to build up. So, I'm a trainer in the area of resilience. And when I say resilience, I mean building internal strength. That internal strength so that you are able to be the best that you can be and live life on your terms. And I mean, when I say you internally, I mean absolutely you. So not you and your partner, you and your spouse, you and your children. I mean you as an individual. Yeah. So and that can be quite difficult for people who have kind of always had someone else to rely on. But then it's teaching them how to take back their strength, their power, and really empower them.
I think like you're uniquely equipped to teach this or to train people in this way. I mean, just knowing your story, because early on you made the hard choice, and like if you choose your spouse and you have to be outside of a community for support to raise your family, you've got to have some keen like resilience, right? And then it seems like the people that you work with, like your clients, are people that just went along with the status quo and yes, mom, yes, dad, that's right, that's appropriate, I'm going to do this. And they're going up like they're supposed to. And then they're just like, I've never.
And now what? Yeah, yes. And am I happy? And who have I done this for? Yeah, and all of that question. And actually, with the brain at that sort of age, at around 40, there's some changes taking place neurologically, and you're beginning to, you call it neurological pruning, where actually you're beginning to sift out the things which don't matter, and that's where you get the questioning. And you start looking for a bigger picture, looking for a bigger purpose, and finding out actually, where do I fit into all of this? Because we get to that point where you think, actually, I'm not going to live forever, am I? Which is what you do think when you're 20 and 30.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it hits you, your mortality hits you around 40, and you're like, wait, life will come to an end.
So what am I doing? And am I really happy? Because the number of people who are just working so hard, it really makes me think. It saddens me really to know how hard people are working, and how some I would say very, very unhappy, or just coping. But that's never, ever what life was supposed to be. I suppose that's the thing, is my premise comes from that time. As a 16-year-old, I thought, oh my goodness, everything has just gone like this for Anita. It's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be, life is supposed to be exciting. It's supposed the beauty, if we only look for it in everyday coincidences and everyday meetings and chance meetings and smiles from strangers and all the rest of it. And yet often we've got our heads down, we're not even looking, we're in our own heads, worried. Yeah.
And I like that chance meetings and coincidences but I never really look at those as chance or a coincidence. I look at them as they have a purpose, right? Those things that happen, those people that you meet, and like you may know someone just for a number of hours, right? Like, think of when you get stuck in an airport by chance, right?
Yes,
And you're
yes.
just stuck with this group of people and for some hours, and the exchange that you have with those people and the things that you gain from the experience, and it becomes part of you. It becomes your story and who you are and maybe how you think going into your, when you land on your destination. So that's
Yes.
a really beautiful way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. They're not chance. I don't believe they are chance. But some people pick up on those and some people don't, because they have got their head down and they're not engaging in life.
So how do you help people to see those things? How do you help them to see that beauty?
Well, generally speaking, when I'm working with my clients, I get them to step back, because often when they come to me, they're overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got so much going on that they keep thinking that if I do more and I do it quicker, I'll get where I want to. But actually, that's not the answer. The answer is the opposite. It's the opposite. So it's this thing of actually sitting back and doing nothing just for a short while to get your breath back and to start looking at the lay of the land, how it is currently, without doing anything, just working through actually and figuring out what it is that you want in life, in different aspects of your life, and creating a plan for moving forward, rather than let life happen to you, which is often what happens, or you let other people decide for you what's going to happen for you. You actually start taking control. So that's how I help people, my clients, is to first of all take stock and then very gently get them to begin to take control. Often they're feeling that they are out of control, that life is out of control, and we start to let them feel their internal power again and begin to empower them using all sorts of different techniques. And so I'm an executive coach as well. So in terms of the tools that are available to people to kind of start to shift mindset are so simple and so powerful. It's when you can see a client in an hour session start to move, and you get them, or they're able to verbalize something that they've never been able to do before, and you see their eyes open, light up, and suddenly they have the answer. So with coaching, what you're doing is you're not giving them the answers. You give them the tools, you help them work through the tools, you never give them the answers, because what you're doing is you're helping them, you're empowering them, true empowerment. So they're finding their own answers.
So I like that. You are taking pause, then you're kind of assessing the situation, like seeing what's going on, and then you give them the controls.
Indeed.
Nice.
And it's not that it's just that they let go of the controls for a while. That's all it was. They just got to put their hands back onto the steering wheel and start, driving in the direction they want, rather than the one everyone else has got them moving in.
Right. They're not being chauffeured around anymore. So
yes, but it's easy sometimes to let other people do that for us. Sometimes it's the easy way.
It is. So tell me, what are, I know you're offering like a free ebook for people who listen. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So and again, this was one way of getting something into the hands of people who couldn't physically get to my workshops. And it's about reaching as many people out there who need support, who need that level of help. So it's an ebook. There's a link on my website, and if I send you, Cordelia, if I send you the link, maybe that's something you can share with your listeners.
Yes.
Yeah. So what it's called, and I'll just let me just have a quick look. So it's actually called 7 Guaranteed Ways to Reduce Your Overwhelm. Let me do that again. 7 Guaranteed Ways to Reduce Stress, Stop Feeling Overwhelmed at Work, and Get Your Life Back. It's a long title, but that's what it does. It's very action centered. It's not just talking to them about what they could do. It's actually helping them to identify actions that they can do in each of those steps to move forward. And there's an action plan in there as well. And I encourage people to get back in touch with me if they're struggling, if they're stuck, and yeah.
So is your preference to do one-on-one coaching, or do you do group coaching, and do you do remote?
Yes, I do. I mean, if people can get to me, I can do my coaching programs. I mean, and they're always specifically geared towards what individuals want. But generally speaking, it's a 5-session program over about 3 or 4 months, something like that.
Oh, okay.
So that's certainly something that we could do. I do Skype as well. So I do Skype meetings, so coaching programs over Skype. But the online program, which I'd love to tell you a little bit about, is something which I'm just putting the finishing touches to it and doing the testing this week. But next week, the idea is first week of December, we start promoting it. So that's a 5-week program. And it's aimed at professionals who want to, who've had enough and want to start changing their life and getting some support, and they can't get to my workshop. So it's to help them get over the overwhelm, and they can do it online. As I say, we go live on the first week of February,
Okay.
but we've started promoting it next week with an early bird discount. So that if the people who do want to definitely come on board, they'll get a good rate, good price for it. And the great thing is it's over 5 weeks, and we cram the training into 1 hour on a Monday, and then they have things they need to do for the rest of the week. But the beauty is they can do that at a time and place that suits them.
Right.
And we've got Zoom calls in there. We've got Facebook accountability, and they get to keep the program. They get to keep the modules for life.
Okay.
So they can dip. Yeah, lifetime access. So they can dip in and out when they want.
I like that. Yeah, because a lot of times when you get in an online course, you don't have lifetime access. So that's really amazing. And I like the support with the Zoom calls, right?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a Facebook group, or?
There is a Facebook group, thank you. But what we do is, because we've run this a few times now, we've realized that the best time to open that group is close to the end of the program. So what we do is we open that just as the program's closing, so that everyone there, all the delegates, have got a place to still share and connect.
Okay. I like that too. Very nicely set up. So I guess when I publish this, I'm going to publish it on my YouTube channel this week, which is the first. Are we already in the first? Like tomorrow's December 1st. Yeah.
It is. Yes.
Right. So I'll just update the description with your course once you're starting to promote. Yeah. So it'll be there. This will be evergreen. So that's great. Wow. I really appreciate you coming in today. I want to just close with, can you give me 3 takeaways that you would like our listeners and viewers to have today?
Yeah. And well, there's so many things I could say, but I think if I'm just going to pick three, I think the first one probably is know what you want in life. Because unless you know, you're guessing your own way. And actually, once you know, you've got a much better chance of getting there. So I think that's the first thing. I think the other one is this thing of being lighthearted. Life is supposed to be fun. And I think that is so poignant because, and to just even think about that when things are feeling heavy, just to even think about that could start changing things for you. So remember that life's supposed to be fun. Yeah. I think our parents often, and the adults around us when we're growing up, do us a disservice by telling us always, work hard, you're not working hard enough. You know, I think most people are working hard enough. They're probably working too hard. Yeah. So it's about, easing up and starting to enjoy before you actually reap the rewards of wherever it is you're heading for. So I reckon that's is that the second one?
Yes, I love that.
And I think maybe the last one, which I think has got to come first of all, which is this thing around self-care, looking after yourself. And I know, Cordelia, you're big on this yourself, but this thing of seriously looking after yourself so that you are in a really, really positive and good place to be able to look after the people who matter to you in life. Because if you don't, you're going to, like so many of the professionals I'm thinking about, end up being burnt out by the time they're 40 because they've given everything. They've cared about everyone except for themselves. Yeah.
I don't know which one of those I like the best. I kind of, but I do, I do like the lighthearted one because that's one you don't hear a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm so happy that you're sharing your gift with the world and you're accessible to people everywhere in the world. So
it's my pleasure, really.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. You're such a beautiful spirit and I appreciate your time.
No. Okay. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's listening as well. Okay.
Have an amazing day.
Okay. Bye-bye.